Hey guys, my name is Aubrey and welcome to the channel. So as you guys know, I am a Turo host. I have been for over 3 years. I have over 1,000 trips on the platform. And as I'm recording this, I have all but one car sitting, not going out on a rental. It is the first time that this has ever happened to me. It is the lowest utilization I have ever seen, and this is on track to be one of the worst months that I've ever had on Turo. And the worst part is that I know that I am not alone in experiencing this because Turo hosts all over the country are going through the exact same thing. So in today's video, I want to talk about what I am doing to decrease my costs and to decrease my bottom line as much as possible, how I am storing my cars in the meantime, and how I am setting myself up for success so that once all of this is over, I can hit the ground running and restart my Turo business from there. So let's get started. So before we begin, I want to ask you guys to do me a huge favor, and that is to please hit that like button and hit that subscribe button down below. I would greatly appreciate it. It helps YouTube algorithm and it helps my channel grow, and it really makes my day seeing that I have a new subscriber, a new comment, or a new like on a video. A couple weeks ago, I made a video about what my plans were with my Turo business going into what we're currently dealing with the economy and with the health crisis and with all of the other stuff that is going on all over the country. And in that video, I really outlined that this period that we're going through right now is a perfect example as to why you should pay for your cars in cash. And I understand that a lot of people didn't pay for their cars in cash. So the points that I made in that video were applicable to some people, but they weren't really helpful to a whole lot of others. So because of that, I wanted to create a very Turo specific video because I wanted to talk about the things that I'm doing to protect myself and to protect my business, and the things that I'm doing to decrease my cost and my bottom line and to increase my profit and increase the probability of me being successful when this whole thing is over. Because I understand that for so many of you, using the term, well, just buy your cars in cash isn't really super helpful. So I wanted to give you guys some real applicable tips that you guys can take today to help you succeed starting today. So the first thing that you can do starting today is if you financed your car or you're using leased cars on Turo, then contact where you got the vehicle from or where your loan is through and talk to them about getting your payments deferred. This is something that a lot of auto manufacturers are doing. They're doing 3 to 6 month deferments on auto loans, and how this works is that the payment goes basically to the back end of the loan, which means that the payment doesn't disappear, but you also aren't incurring more interest because of the deferred payments. So it's a really good way to delay the car payments if you don't have the money right now in order to pay it. My only criticism with this is, and I think that it is a valid point, is that there is the risk of not being able to pay it in 3 to 6 months either, but at least this will give you some time to come up with the money to make these car payments once the time comes. So if you haven't done so already, contact either your dealership, your lender, or wherever you got your lease from and talk to them about getting deferred payments, because it is something that auto manufacturers all over the country are doing to help people combat this economic issue we're all going through. The second thing that you can do is you can switch up your insurance policy. So I have heard from a lot of different sources that insurance rates right now are becoming extremely affordable, whether you have your cars on your personal policy or a commercial policy. Either way, people aren't driving, and because of that, the probability of getting into an accident are lower than they would be on a normal day-to-day basis. So because of that, insurance companies are offering cheaper rates. So I would definitely recommend calling up your insurance policy and see if you can get an adjustment on your rate. If they can, then absolutely take advantage of that opportunity. Another option in regards to insurance is switching your policy to a storage type of policy. This type of policy for insurance is storage insurance. So it means that you're not covered if you drive your car, and you're not covered if the car is on the road and gets damaged, but you are covered if the car is damaged by vandalism, by a natural disaster. Essentially, it means that you're keeping your car in storage, you're not driving it, you're not taking it on the road, but you still want it to have some sort of coverage. So if you are somebody who isn't currently renting out your cars on Turo, then I would definitely recommend exploring the option of storage insurance, because storage insurance is really a fraction of the cost of regular liability and comprehensive insurance. Now, the third tip I have is for anybody who is struggling to find parking for their vehicles. I'm fortunate because I have an off-site parking lot for all my vehicles, so parking isn't really an issue for me. But I have heard from a lot of people that parking is becoming an issue, because if you're somebody that has 5, 6, 12, 20 cars and you don't have a commercial parking lot, you're going to run out of space extremely quickly. and you certainly can't keep 20 cars in front of your house. I don't think your neighbors would be super excited about that. So what I would recommend is you contact local businesses. Right now, so many people are working from home that there are bound to be tons of parking spaces available to use. But don't just park these spaces without getting permission first, because you risk getting your car towed, and that will end up being very expensive, especially if you have more than one car. So I'd recommend reaching out to small businesses and asking them if you can park there. A couple of options when going to these people about their parking spaces is, one, you could just ask them if you can park there for free. They may say yes, but they may say no. But I certainly wouldn't go and ask them straight off the bat, hey, can I park in your parking space? I'll pay X amount of dollars per month. Go in there trying to get those spaces for free, because there is a chance that they aren't really using the spaces and they won't feel the need to charge you for it, and you don't want to offer up money that you could have avoided paying. So I would contact these businesses and first just ask them if you can use their parking spaces for free. The second option that I would go with is maybe offer to pick up the parking lot or to keep an eye on the building for them while you're using their parking lot. The fact of the matter is that so many people aren't working right now, so a lot of businesses and a lot of buildings are being left unattended for days or even weeks at a time. And it may be helpful for these people to have just another set of eyes on the property to make sure that nothing suspicious is going on, that no vandalism is going on, that no burglary is going on. And maybe for some landlords, that would be something that they would like to have, is to have somebody who is using the property for their business and is able to keep track of what is going on at the property at the same time. In fact, one of my first locations that I used for Turo was this exact arrangement. I didn't pay to have my cars there, but instead I just kind of picked up the parking lot whenever I was there. I made sure that there was no trash around, and I kept an eye on the property for the owner. So this is definitely a real valid way to go about getting free parking. And the third option is to simply pay for parking. There are a lot of landlords that probably don't want to give you their parking for free, and there's a lot of landlords that don't care whether or not you keep an eye on the property or not. They simply just want your money in exchange for their parking spaces, and that's okay if that's the case. But I would ask them kind of what their thought is on pricing. I probably wouldn't pay more than a couple $100s for a handful of spaces, because the fact of the matter is they aren't using these spaces right now. And once everything returns to normal, you won't need the spaces. So it's very much a temporary basis setup, and I can't see this being something that's worth more than a couple $100s. For reference, I use an office park as my parking lot, and I rent a section of that office park from the person who owns the buildings. And I pay $100 for all of my cars. So not $100 each, it's $100 total to park all of my cars there. And it's because of the fact that it's a section of the parking lot that they never use because that building is vacant. So it's kind of like found money for the landlord. Nobody's going to be parking there anyways. I'm in and out all day, every day, and it's kind of seen as a win-win situation for both of us. So if you go to a landlord and you offer to pay X amount of dollars for the spaces, and they come back with like $500 or $600, you know that that's a scam and you should walk away. Right now in this climate, you shouldn't be paying more than, I would say, $100 to a couple $100 for some good quality spaces. My fourth tip is to decrease your prices if you're really desperate for a rental, but only if it makes sense. I think that right now with what we're going through, it's one of the few times where I think that just keeping your cars not rented is almost better than pricing your cars at a ridiculously cheap price just for the sake of having them rented out. I'm a big proponent of, throughout my Turo career, I have always adjusted my pricing to accommodate with demand, which means that if one of my cars are sitting, I will lower that price to make it so that it goes out on a rental. And this is the first time in my entire Turo career where I haven't done that, where I'm just allowing my cars to sit. Because I think the fact of the matter is, there just isn't any demand regardless of the price. And so if you want to lower your prices, then absolutely do that. That's your decision to make. But make sure that you're lowering your price to a point that makes sense. And if your car is still sitting, then don't feel bad about it. I mean, all of our cars are sitting all over the country. I am a part of a lot of Turo groups. I know a lot of Turo owners, and it seems like everybody, regardless of fleet size, regardless of location, regardless of experience, they are all struggling right now, and all of their cars are sitting. So if you're a Turo host and you're going through that same thing, and you're trying to figure out why you're not getting any bookings, just know that you're not alone. It's not anything you're doing. It's not your price point. It's just because there's no demand. And lastly, and my final tip is, this is a perfect time to catch up on maintenance and repairs on your vehicles. For me, all of my cars for the most part are caught up on all repairs as I do that ongoing, but I am using this as an opportunity to double check everything. I created a Google Doc for myself where I'm tracking fluid levels, tread depth, whether the brakes and rotors are still good, and I'm also doing a very intense detail on all the vehicles. So the plan is to do one every day until this entire thing is over. So then once all of this has been passed, all my cars are ready to go and they're in the best condition that they've been in since I purchased the vehicles to begin with. So know that even if your cars aren't going out, even if they're not making you money, there is some productive things that you can be doing with your cars in the meantime, whether that's maintenance, cleaning, detailing, whatever the case is. So guys, those are my tips for y'all today. I think that as Turo hosts, there's only a number of things that we can do to really increase demand in a situation where there just simply isn't any demand. And so one of our only kind of defense mechanisms to this tough time is to instead decrease our costs as much as possible. And I know for me personally, my highest costs come from the operation of the vehicles and the insurance of the vehicles. And if you can cut those two things down dramatically, then it puts you into a position of success whenever it comes to kind of weathering out this storm. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys have any questions or comments or things that you are doing to help cut costs while we're all going through this, then definitely comment them below. I would be interested to hear what y'all are doing and what your tactics are moving forward. If you guys enjoyed this video, then make sure to hit that like button and hit that subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate it, and I will see you guys in the next video.